Alright, so what you guys, or some of you guys have been asking for, finally here I am with Don't Sleep on Gilgamesh. And hey, before I even start this up, make sure you got something, a snack or whatever. This is 38 minutes long, and you already know, yeah, with the extra talking right here in the intro, and then yeah, what I say afterwards, it's gonna be a good 40 something, right, minutes. So hey, got me a little something, just some water, right? But hey, make sure you got something, right? It's gonna be a ride, and yeah, hope you all can just stay for the whole time, and if not, yeah, just watch like half of it or part of it and come back later to finish it, right? But other than that, hey, that's pretty much a bit about it. I'm not even gonna stall you guys for any longer, so hey, hope you guys will enjoy this. Make sure you like, subscribe, and let's get on with these 38 minutes. Yeah, like the menace he is, laughing in the beginning.
It's been a long time in the making. We finally here. The oldest hero, the strongest of spirits.
Oh, you already know.
Clear out the way. It's a movie. Don't sleep on Gilgamesh. We ran the polls, you know, it ended up coming real
what?
close.
That's not even
Always has to come out on top.
Bro, it's the same thing.
Time that we see him fighting in the Fate route, we know that he has good close range prowess, being able to pick up Saber's entire body by the foot. In the UB-Dub route, when he was trying to use Ilya to manifest the Grail, he literally one-shotted her by digging out her with his bare hands. In his fight against Saber, he was overwhelming her in close range combat, despite her having Excalibur and being claimed to have better sword skills. In Fate Strange Fate, we got a display of his endurance, where his master had to use windbreak and gravity manipulations just to fend off something that he could hold back using his own defense. He was able to dodge several blows from Richard the Lionheart and parry a surprise attack despite him having superb sword skills. In the Fate route, when Saber tried to attack him with all her strength from her Excalibur, he swallowed the attack whole just from countering with Tsiah. When he was trying to manifest his own version of the Grail, he nearly
arm is in his body.
Life. In Fate Extra, we know that he destroyed a several-fold lock with brute strength alone. For all the people who think that he can't fight close range,
yo, where is this from?
Story with Enkidu.
Yo,
looks like close range to me. He
animation crazy.
To throw a phantasm straight through Ku's chest during their battle. In Fate Extella, we know that he's capable of one-shotting the main character with just his energy alone. With the help of Enkidu,
the Bull of Heaven,
drive off the Bull of Heaven, a literal divine beast capable of ravaging the entire planet. Merlin also confirmed this back in Babylonia when he said that the bull can destroy the entire world. Once again, despite Saber having better techniques, there was a part of their fight where he was blocking her with his bare hands. I don't even gotta pull out the weapon.
That's crazy.
Dangerous. He has his own set of phantasmal armor that makes him nearly impenetrable to regular attacks. For the majority of his first fight with Saber, he didn't have a scratch on him. Even when she was able to counter his attack, the damage that he received was exactly that, a minimal scratch. He tanked a barrage of Ren's Gander bullets, not even bothering to move out the way. To a Magus,
he said, I'm gonna take these shots.
In a Q&A that went down with Nasu, he mentions that Gil could pull something out of his gate that has a high enough defense to block
multi-dimensional,
phantasm, which we know incorporates the second magic, some of the strongest magic in the verse. He also mentions that he has the foresight to gauge the strength of his enemy. He wouldn't fight Sasuke at close range to begin with. He completely survived being in the vicinity of Saber's Excalibur and didn't have a scratch on him. In Fate Extra Extra CCC, he mentions that his armor can block against evil spirits.
Yeah, merely guards. Yeah, right.
Like something that comes from Medusa or the Bull of Heaven won't work either. You have Fate Strange Fate, where Heracles was even stronger than he was in Stay Night. He tried to snipe Gil from miles away, and Gil literally batted a colossal arrow.
Oh no, bro just smacked it away.
Keep in mind that the arrow of Heracles is faster than the speed of lightning, and Gil got rid of it like he was trying to hit a home run. This same attack was only able to put a crack in Gil's armor. He survived at the same rate in his fight against Richard the Lionheart, with him only having cracks in his armor when it was all said and done. He has an unparalleled sense of self, Saber being horrified that he was drowned in the Grail mud and nothing happened to him.
Yeah, nothing.
Flex on her, telling her that you need at least 3 times as much mud if you want to begin to do something to my mental. The story itself tells us out of all the servants by that point in time, he was the only one who could avoid this fate. Sakura also confirmed this in Heaven's Field, saying that Gil just simply can't be corrupted. From his backstory in Fate Extra, we know that he had
Man, he's just got that strong of an ego too.
For several days straight, and Kidu also being a top servant. He is one of the only people to survive the imaginary sea, a literal alternate reality that would normally have the power to take your life. In Fate Extra, he tells us that he slept for 2 millenniums and still boasted a high amount of power, even though he claims he's rusty. He also went on to mention that he slept for an eternity in the underworld. This is nothing to him. Hakuno tells us that most people would have atrophied from being asleep this long, but the fact that Gil can keep himself up means he's on a whole nother level. We know that Gil was able to survive the pure agony of the Hydra's poison from the arrows of Heracles. This same poison is what caused the great Chiron to beg for his own death in his backstory because it hurt so bad, and Gil just tanked it. His endurance is through the roof. It took a fight
just
with
take
Richard
all of this,
the
take all of
Lionheart,
that.
fighting off the Grail mud, multiple shots from Heracles while he was getting reinforced.
They're
with
looking
Jack the
kind of
Ripper
cool right
Phantasm.
there.
Ishtar sealing his entire gate of Babylon. So
Yeah,
he
she
can't
is like
use it,
pure
and a
white.
spear from Humbaba just to bring Gil down, and he still didn't die. This is the true definition of built different. Even while the hits were affecting him from multiple places, he still took the hits on his feet. Even at his worst, his body as a king would not allow him to bend the knee. In the UB-Dub route, we know that he has magical energy shields that he used to fend off attacks when Ren was using her gem magecraft. Keep in mind, this same magecraft was enough to take the life of Heracles on multiple occasions. He used this same magical shield to absorb an entire blast from Ilya in the Fey route. He straight up blocked an attack from Meltrolus with one hand to protect his master. In CCC, he blocked a surprise attack from Robin Hood in his confrontation with BB while he was trying to get off an attack himself. From Fate Stay Night, we know that he is one of the only servants that's ever been completely incarnated and given a full body. He has great reflexes, being able to dodge,
because able to take the mud from the Grail and just stay for a whole nother year, or not year, but a couple of years, get a whole body.
By the shadow taking off half of his leg, other than the fact of feeling disrespected. He was able to fend off a surprise attack from Ku Cullen with ease, and as I mentioned before, he also went head to head with Ku Cullen for 12 hours straight and beat him, Ku also being a top tier servant. Then they had a rematch in Extella. From his backstory, we saw him dodge multiple chains of heaven from Enkidu during their battle, these coming out at Mach speed. In Fate Extra, he survived being transported 1,500 light years away.
Wait a second, bro.
In Fate Strange Fate, They briefly mentioned
What
that
is
he
this
has
dude
the ability
on?
to teleport. In his fight against Enkidu, it was shown to us that he is one of the only servants that has the ability to fly. You had a shaman mention that even when he used his fastest spell, he still couldn't catch up to Gil in his flight. You have his A-rank independent action that allows him to use his phantasm even without his master. He also completely ignored orders from Tokiomi. Back at the time,
I don't know, it's like, you're my master, but you're not. I'm not gonna let you talk to me like that.
Heroic spirit. Tokiomi mentions that if Gil chooses, he can cut off his connection and hide everything he does from him. In Heaven's Field, it was stated that Gil's soul holds so much gravity that it's equivalent to eating hundreds of thousands of humans. You have the statement from Richard the Lionheart, who says that Gil's spirit origin is at least on the same level as Enkidu, and how he has no chance in defeating him. In Fate Extella, you had Tamamo mention how he has the highest mana pool out of all the servants. Even she couldn't surpass him. As I've mentioned before, Gil is one of the only servants that couldn't be altered. Even in Heaven's Field, Sakura had to hurry up and finish eating him, or he would have bust her open from the inside.
Hey, pause on that. Yo, nah. No, but that's crazy. Like, having to do that so quickly. So you want to do that?
Looking at his A+ charisma, he has a self-confidence that's unmatched, only being able to back down under the most dire circumstances. And just looking at Strange Fate, even then he's going out on his feet. In the Fate route, just his gaze alone was enough to freeze Medea into shock. She knew she was gonna die. You had Shiro mention that just being in his presence makes it feel like death is unavoidable. We know that
with all he's doing, I'll be the same way.
For sapping magical energy. The story tells us that Gil was the only servant to put fear in the shadow in Heaven's Field. When it comes to Ataraxia, even the Shades were terrified just to be around his powerful aura. Looking at his interlude, we know that he can manifest souls of the dead at will. In the fight that he had against Enkidu during Strange Fate, it stated that he fired thousands of phantasms in one night. These guys were going at it. If you take a look at his material, it tells us that everything from his Gate of Babylon is at least firing at bullet speed. And even when he uses the gate, it doesn't expend his energy. It counts each one of his shots as one move. In Hollow Ataraxia, he bodied Sasuke and Kazuki back to back with a flawless victory. You have the Q&A with Nasu, where he mentions that he could beat Arkaway with her using 30% of her power. Arkaway being one of the strongest characters.
Oh, we get to see it in action.
Period. I mean, literally top 10.
Yeah, I definitely gotta see that. It's still so much Fate I gotta see.
He flat out won the Moon Cell Grail War in Fate Extra. He was able to heal Hakano back to full health despite them being fatally injured. Due to him being the first hero on record, he has access to every single phantasm in history in his Gate of Babylon. He easily was able to kill off one of the 100-face Hassans when they tried to sneak into the
tried to sneak up on in there.
Stated that Gil had the power to split a mountain and took out 1/3 of Gil's monster. He can shoot phantasms while he's mobilized. This is evidenced by the battle he had when he was on his ship. He fired a bare minimum of 80 phantasms in his one-on-one against Iskander. Just the collision of his phantasms was enough to blow Saber down and throw her across the room. In his fight against Lancelot, he manifested shields to block his missiles while mid-air. You had the claim from Waver, who said that he killed one of the personas so fast that he couldn't even discern it. From his fights with Saber, we know that he can push out phantasms.
All I said, like last time I saw a video like this, I mean, nah, bro, they just literally poured whatever into this dude. Like,
a lot of these guys with their skills
bro,
and weapons, but do they have the finest bottles
literally just gave him everything.
Gil can pull this out his gate at any time.
I know that divine, bro, cup and all.
This is also evidenced in his fight against Lancelot. He tactfully used his phantasms to make a wall against Lancelot to prevent his escape. In the Fate route, once again, we know that he's the one that straight up off-screen Sasuke with no problem. He fatally shot Shiro through the chest with just a snap of his fingers. He mowed down a massive number of Medea's Dragon Tooth warriors with no issue. His sword spam has been compared to the output of a machine gun. He easily minced through Medea's conceptual shield that's been compared to taking a life from Heracles in defense. He literally destroyed Medea in one barrage of his phantasms the moment that he showed up.
You just be lucky enough to dodge literally like 20 of those shots that come out of there.
Just disgusting. I still can't believe it to this day. This is why Gil has to be held back by the plot. If it wasn't for that, he would go around doing this to everybody.
Yeah.
The story even tells us that she tried to fly away and the only thing that was left was her cloak. Before that, she also tried to regenerate. This too only lasted for about 10 seconds. The man literally ate through regeneration. The story tells us that back when Gil snapped his fingers against Shiro, it felt like all of the bones in his body were broken and he couldn't feel his limbs. Complementary to him having every prototype that exists, Gil summoned the original version of Caliburn, which was Marta. The story tells us that this same attack is on par with the one that took the lives of Heracles 6 times at once, which also confirms that Gil too can one-shot half of the lives.
Yeah, he can literally one-shot all that. Like
Shiro's entire body in half, and the only reason he did survive is because of his regeneration. Just using his barrage of phantasms was enough to take out majority of Saber's armor in their battle. The story tells us that not only did Gil block Ilya's blast, but he reflected it back to her. In a conversation with Rin, she mentions how she saw at least 6 of some of the most well-known phantasms around.
Gable? That's the only one I know out of that list. Yo.
Come out with the curse effect applied. He has access to an invisible sword, which allows him to hide the trajectory of his attacks. He has a sword that's made of ice that can literally freeze the space that it comes in contact with.
What?
This is absurd. He has access to a scythe that can warp space.
I'm telling you, they gave him everything.
Saber's armor and
like, bro.
magical energy. He can pull phantasms out of his
They just said, let's make a character and give him whatever sword, whatever weapons he wants.
On top of them already being strong, some of them have their own.
Give him
just the
defense.
Phantasms was enough to
I
hold
mean,
back the
phenomenal
monsters of
defense.
Heracles.
Like,
His barrage was enough to hold back Heracles when he tried to do one of his charge attacks. After using his chains of heaven, it stated that he pierced Heracles 22 times and finished him off on top of that. We know that he can combine the collision of multiple phantasms to create an explosion. In the Heaven's Field route, we know that he straight up annihilated Sakura before the shadow put her back together. In Strange Fate, he goes blow for blow
the King's Treasure.
Of blades against Enkidu. He was able to negate several Mach speed arrows from Heracles without even lifting a finger. Mind you that the arrows of Heracles were so fast that they created tornadoes behind them, and they still did nothing to Gil. In his fight against Richard, he successfully pierced him multiple times at once. Right after he defeated Richard, Heracles tried to blindside Gil from several kilometers away, and he still blocked it at the last second. On top of him having his magical shields, he can also summon physical shields to block him anytime that he wants, as we've seen with his defense against Hippolyta. This that 2-3 defense, my guy. This is the defense that wins championships. Oh, you're tired of Gil's weapons? Well, how about this? He can literally summon thunderbolts out of his gate.
Yeah, it's no surprise. It's like
to at least lightning level reactions. These are the same thunderbolts that can
auto
turn
defensive.
down most attacks if he sets them up prior. Once again, he destroyed the arrow of Heracles several miles away on the top of a skyscraper. It later confirms that the distance was at least 12 miles. The story reinforcing the fact that you and and Gil are not the same. You had the story flat out tell us that the average servant would have been one-shotted by the attack that Gil blocked. It tells us that the same divine spirit that he blocked from Hippolyta had enough power to truck through a wall of his phantasms, and he still stopped it. He tactfully was using his shields to block back-to-back Excalibur blasts from Richard the Lionheart. It tells us that he blocked over 20 Excalibur blasts, each shot being stronger than the last one. We know that he blocked a supersonic arrow from Herc to protect his master at point blank. The crazy part about it is he blocked the attack with his ship. Even the ship comes with detachable defense. It's stated that Richard could only hold back so many of Gil's phantasms.
Wait, hold up, bro. We still got 20 minutes left.
Potion of youth, which allows him to return to
oh, this is what I was talking about. Get your snacks ready. Oh, the young one.
He gave his master access to
I mean, bro.
the max limit of
Why does he still have more?
on the level of fooling civilians. He has an independent lens that operates as a telescope that allowed him to survey Heracles from
Like,
a distance.
come on now.
Furniture, he's got ornaments that he can use to
Yeah,
decorate any location
yeah,
that he
literally.
pleases. Just picture Gil doing an episode of MTV Cribs.
Yeah,
There you
like-
have it. He has access to every known torture device that's ever existed.
Actually, you know what? And he gets
Since his gate recognizes the
no matter how many times he's reborn, he's gonna have money.
to those two. He shot out
How? Like,
ice and lightning at Heracles at the
hey,
same
bro.
time. When you're riding out with Gil, you're gonna get the best
Parachute?
flight services
Yo.
in the world. He's got
If you're still complaining
for his
with what you could do as Gilgamesh,
He had a
you're. I don't know what else you
conversation with
need.
his master where he mentioned with the power of the command spells, he could completely one-shot the city of Snowfield. The story tells us that just the residual damage from his fight with Heracles was enough to destroy entire buildings. As I mentioned
No.
before, Ishtar had to completely lock the gate of Babylon for her to even stand a chance against Gil while he was already fighting against Heracles. Y'all can't hold this man. In FGO, there's an instance where he defeated the great beast Humbaba in the presence of Kingu. We know that by spending 90% of the treasure in his vault, Gil was able to reach the near side of the moon, something that normally shouldn't even be possible. It also confirms that he can cross between parallel planes. We know that he can use his Gate of Babylon as a method of teleportation, evidenced by the fact that he transported Shinji in the UB-Dub route. He was able to fend off a countless amount of shades and hollow ataraxia that began to flood throughout the entire city. From Fate Extra, we know that he has a phantasmal elixir that can poison his enemy if he gets the chance to serve it. He has poisonous phantasmal armaments that we saw him use in his fight against Altera. Again, if you take a look at the materials, it says that pretty much anything can be found in this gate. It literally has no bounds. From the UB-Dub route, we know that his chains of heaven can bind space itself. These same chains were even able to negate a command spell from Ilya when she tried to save Heracles. Their main function is to immobilize.
Oh no, those chains are overpowered. Nah, bro.
The stronger these chains
Once those come out, it's over.
in his fight against Iskander. Despite the fact that Iskander has low divinity, Gil was still able to stop him in his tracks at point blank. He easily was able to immobilize Cuchulainn when they went head to head in their battle. The story tells us that he used these same chains to hold down the Bull of Heaven, and depending on the strength
Oh,
of his
that
target,
thing,
he could only
okay.
hold them down for so long. We've seen him use these chains to hold
He
down
took.
the ground
Okay,
by
yeah,
himself.
he's too much. He
Use these chains
beat
to
that?
avoid his death and prolong him being sucked into a void of space. When it comes to Gil's ship, it's stated to be faster than the speed of thought. What does that even mean? It's so fast that it can't even be quantified in words. In his fight
That's
against
crazy,
Lancelot,
bro.
we know that he was able to use this ship to catch up with Lancelot's jet with no problem. His ancient ship, the Vimana, is the same ship that shows up in the two epics Mahabharata and Ramayana. From Fate Zero, we find out that the ship is solar powered, meaning he doesn't have to worry about its mana use. It's stated that this ship has ancient nuclear weapons that would put Area 51 to shame. It has multiple systems of defense that's ready to fend off certain attacks when he needs it. Back when he was going against Iskander, he beat him without getting a scratch on him, Iskander even going as far to compliment him on his power. Then of course you have the unique sword that split the heavens and earth, Tsiah. We know that it can't be replicated since it's created from
absolutely cannot.
On this planet. It can multiply his strength.
Literally like the best thing you can have at your disposal.
It is one of the strongest weapons in Fate, period. At the very least, it's on par with Excalibur, and at times it can be even stronger than that. In contrast to Excalibur, however, it doesn't have seals, so normally this would be the better weapon. Despite being able to trace other weapons, Shiro couldn't even begin to understand its concept nor replicate it. Just trying to do this was causing friction in his mind. Just from charging one of his attacks, Tsiah is known to swallow the winds that's around it. The story tells us that this same weapon can literally dislocate space, which confirms more spatial warping on top of him having the Gate of Babylon. Looking back at Strange Fate, we know that as an anti-world phantasm, it has the power to destroy the entire world or a layer of the planet itself, given the right circumstance. Oh, you got concepts? No problem. This man punched through an alternate dimension with his fist.
What?
Back when he used Tsiah against Iskander in Fate Zero, he distorted the laws of space, destroyed Iskander's reality.
Laws of space, man. You're destroying physics and all.
With no problem. Each soldier being on the level of a fake servant on top of that. Just the cylinders from him charging Tsiah has been compared to shifting tectonic plates in the Earth's crust. Before Saber had her Avalon, he effortlessly destroyed her with Tsiah and thought nothing about it. Just the wind release from his Tsiah alone was enough to obliterate the arm of the modified Grail. These same winds are said to swallow space itself and create tornadoes behind them. In his battle against Enkidu, Enkidu had to summon the most powerful defense he could from space in order to fend off Gil's attack from Tsiah. The landing behind one of his blasts was enough to create a massive crater in the ground. Their endurance is insane. It's stated that they both could have went for 3 days straight if they were given the opportunity. Out of all the servants that could have been summoned in Babylonia, Gil was the one that showed up at the end and finished off the weakened Tiamat. Mind you that even in her weakened state, she can still body majority of the servants out there. Between FGO and the Extraverse, we're able to see the true pinnacle of his power with Tsiah. Given the circumstances, he is able to manifest 3 galaxies worth of energy to thrust into his enemy. You guys are dust. You had the time where Heracles pulled up on Gil and said, "You're not good unless you use Tsiah on me." My boy Gil said, "What? The best you're getting is the sword Marduk. You gotta prove to me that you even worthy of this."
Oh yeah.
When it came to their rematch,
Tsiah is too much, bro.
In a position where he could barely stand. This man had partial immortality, and Gil was still giving him the handles.
Bro, stop dick riding, bro. That's all you literally talk about.
The way I see it, I'm just doing my job. He has his own unique clairvoyance that allows him to receive information on anything that he chooses. You have the time where Gil remembered his contact with Bibi on the other side of the moon, which normally should be impossible. When you're looking at Prisma Ilya, he had the power to send Ilya's entire conscience into the past. He was able to pull this off with the help of the Counterforce. He is one of the only people to survive the end of the world in Prisma Ilya. Literally, Darius ended the world in Prisma, and Gil just shrugged it off. In Babylonia, Roman tells us that through his clairvoyance, Gil can also see into the future as well. In the UB-Dub route, you had Gil's clairvoyance tell him who Shiro and Archer was before he even saw their capabilities. In Fate Extra, we know that he outperformed Ronnie in a game of chess, which is huge because she comes from the Atlas Academy, a branch who prides themselves on their intellect. He has a unique ability to sense danger before it comes around. He could see straight through Francis Prelati's advanced illusions, something that would normally take mystic eyes to see. You had his intuition tell him that Jester wasn't a human. He used this to discern the fact that the main character's vitals were dropping, and you couldn't even tell. He has the ability to see the monoflow of Heracles and
I know you guys can tell I'm like so quiet right now. I can't, like, I know he could do, but this is like, bro, like, tell me what his weaknesses are now. Like, tell me what the weaknesses are. I don't even care anymore. I see what he can do. Oh, now I gotta see this, bro. I'm saying he over here like have, bro. He ain't even trying.
He summoned an entire wall of fire against Enkidu just to block one of his attacks.
Oh, that boy moving, yo.
Takes a beam to the chest in order to save Rasuka from the great beast Tiamat, then continued to do battle on top of that. In an interlude, he blocked a fatal surprise attack from Amakusa, mentioning that he's the only one that could have pulled this off. The interlude has him fighting against Angra and Amakusa at the same time. They can't do anything with him. Even when they immobilized Gilgamesh, he still had access to his treasures and pulled off his phantasm. He tactfully put a bounded field around the entire city of Uruk to ward off attacks. He was able to shatter Ishtar's gem magecraft the moment she pulled it out with just a flick of his finger. In the underworld, we find out that he has an uncredited skill in presence concealment. His authority allowed him to fight Ereshkigal's goddess of death, which normally shouldn't even be possible. While he was still human in Babylonia, he had the power to summon 8 different servants on his own merits. He had the authority to race shift Ritsuka against Chaldea's will. He deployed a defense mechanism that blocked out Tiamat's Sea of Life, a feat of him basically negating reality warping concepts. On top of that, he has certain magecraft that allows him to invoke paralysis.
This is like, there you go. That's why I ain't even saying nothing, bro. Let me just listen to this. I mean, this is not even plot armor. Like, this is like, you favor this man. Like, bro. Dude, this is someone loving their character so much. They just say, no, it's fine. Just give him this, give him that. Like, come on, no.
At the same time, while she was being reinforced by Ritsuka, in the underworld, he managed to destroy Ereshkigal's weapon as the goddess of death. In his fight against Enkidu, this man real life shot an enormous bolt of lightning, leaving Enkidu overwhelmed. In the underworld, he shot out several layers of fire against Eresh. He has another mirror that's similar to the first that allows him to view remote locations, giving him access to the underworld. He has his own unique trap with material that's made from demonic beasts. The trap being strong enough to temporarily hold down Ishtar. As Shadow Gil, we know that he took a laser beam to the chest, and his only response was pure laughter. He casually blocked off Miyu's attacks with his magical energy shield. He tactfully got trapped on purpose against Angelica just to use her own chains against
that is like, come on now.
He fended off Emiya and Ku at the same time in his child.
They're trying to trespass, so I chased them off.
Leadership to bring the best out of a team. He can casually pull clothes out of his
I know, it's like, you can get clothes, you can get that drip, bro.
He tactfully was able to create a walkway using his magical shields. Even in his shadow form, he was able to create the original version of the Nine Lives Phantasm against Ilya. After exhausting a good portion of his energy fighting off multiple people at once, Gil was still able to hold off Ilya's infinite magical energy for a short amount of time. He has access to his own golden cell phone. Feel free to hit his line. He's the
I know,
one that
bro.
broke
What's his
Shield
number,
out of
bro?
jail when he was being held captive, a true hero.
Let me call him so I don't get. So I'm gonna tell him
that he can
I ain't gonna give him
casually
your
use
bad
as
side, bro.
convenience.
Like,
He has access to a scarf that can shield your physical and your magical presence. They use this in attempts to hide from the
oh yeah, that
a
cloak, and he got a hat for that.
Can't hide your scent. When the squad needed it, this man pulled an entire hot spring out of his gate of Babylon. The flexing is just unrivaled. He was able to use his magical shield to quickly deflect one of Angelica's attacks. He has an amulet that he can also use as a flashbang. This was enough to rock the entire castle. In an interlude, he was able to easily destroy a spirit that was summoned by the Grail. This same spirit is said to be on par with the demon god pillar, who are known to be some of the strongest creatures in the verse. He was able to tactfully manipulate his chains and create a sphere to trap Angelica, also using the spears from the outside to give extra piercing damage. He was able to use his authority as a spirit to take the Archer card over Julian, despite the cards being made by the Ainsworths in the first place. He was able to restrain Beatrice, who had her strength.
Oh come on now, bro. Making his own stairs, like the flexing is crazy. Like,
in UB-Dub, he bodied
yo.
both of Ilya's maze in a matter
Oh no,
of
they
seconds,
they got
showing
absolutely
up to the castle
bodied.
in Fate Prototype.
Took it out.
Head to head with King Arthur, despite being in the Archer class, literally using two swords at once. He was overwhelming Arthur at close range, the two of them showing great endurance, jumping several kilometers into the sky in an instant. He had close range striking techniques, being able to knee Arthur directly in the face. In Fate Prototype specifically, we see him combining these two swords together to create a bow and launch his Phantasm Inky, a move that scaled over the entire city with ease. This too can destroy the world given the right circumstances. We know Shadow Gil, who is usually weaker than the original, he's also shown the ability to survive Ren's gem cannon, which is on par with the hammer of Thor.
Oh yeah, it's like, how do you
Straight through his chest, even though her hits were reinforced.
yeah
with
punch through the
real
chest,
he
even
constantly
grab the
regenerated
card?
after taking multiple of these reinforced punches to the body. He literally fired off a phantasm in a split second while he was being attacked. Just his magical aura was stated to be even stronger than Saber Altars, putting him on a whole nother level. This same aura was enough to break through Luvia's gem shields, which we know can boast some high magical defense. He tanked multiple layers of the ceiling falling on top of him. This same ceiling was
Tons of
1.6 million
concrete.
tons in terms of concrete. He tanked a broken phantasm from Kuro while she was using Excalibur. He used several different types of armor in his gate to block Ilya during their battle. He impaled Bazette several times with fatal wounds, literally killing her and forcing her to use a resurrection move.
No, she had to get revived out here.
Shadow Gil was able to make a defense out of a wall of phantasms, forcing Bazette to use her own to survive. Later on in their fight, he broke through yet another pocket dimension just from winding up his Aya. Once again, you have him summoning his ship, Vimana, after a prolonged battle and taking tons of damage. In just a few seconds, he leveled an entire mountain by dropping explosions out of his ship alone. He summoned a war god as an extension of himself to fight against Ilya and her group. Even when they tried to bind him with multiple spells scales, it still wasn't enough to hold him down for long. It has massive destructive power, being able to fight multiple targets at once. Just one swing from this creature was enough to take down half the forest. In the Prismaverse, he has enough influence to take over a person's mind if they're trying to handle his card. We saw this same situation when he temporarily took control of Miyu. He literally resisted the influence.
You still got more. Okay, we got like what, 2 minutes left? Like just stop. How?
With his phantasms alone. Again, he can summon the mountainside sword Igalima and his counterpart if he chooses. This is not for the faint of heart. Then you have the time where he tactfully used his chains to grab Miyu out the air. And just one shot from Angelica using Aya was enough to drown out every weapon that Shiro had in stock. Ridiculous. When it comes to fate in general, Gil is the absolute bar. It's just like he said in Carnival Phantasm. Rules trick, I am the rules. Whenever you hear somebody,
not just the rules, he's the whole game master. Like, bro,
Gil, though. This man can literally destroy worlds, punch through dimensions, warp reality, shift tectonic plates. I gotta hit my man with the EX. Anything lower than that, you're a hater. You're just a hater, and that's okay. There's always gonna be a place for you in the world. At the bottom, if you couldn't tell this already, this is very biased. I got Gil grailed on 2 characters just to show him we wasn't playing around. And his drawbacks is that he didn't flex on y'all sooner. What you thought I was gonna say something bad? It's not his arrogance, it's the story. Gil will put your favorite servant on a t-shirt.
Yeah, he will. Like,
drip like this. Just roll out the red carpet. We bleed triumphant over here.
Okay. Oh. Yep, that is it. I don't even know what to say. That was like, bro, how much do you gotta favor your character? That's all I gotta say. I mean, I get it, bro. I mean, I like him too, right? I like him too, definitely. But like, what? Okay, so we have, oh my, bro, it's like I'm gonna have to rewatch this video like 10 times, bro, because I don't even remember. Luckily, I did already look at like a video of his abilities, because then I was talking about like literally they took a character. They're like, okay, he looked good. He got the little golden, right? Let's give him a whole literal like dimension, a whole space where he can store whatever he wants. Like, bro, oh my, bro, he can really die, get reborn or something. Or no. It's like once a Holy Grail is over with, once he gets like, made again, right? Resummoned in another Grail War, it's like he can have a whole house. Literally, a whole house he can take out of there. Furniture that could already be in there, it doesn't matter. And literally already have the money he needs. Like, literally, it don't even matter. He don't even need the money. He can literally just pull out the money he already has. And apparently, no matter what situation he's in, he's always going to have some type of wealth. And that's just ridiculous to me. The clairvoyance, actually, I think, that actually was new to me when I looked at the abilities video. Because I'm like, he really could sense the danger, if not go into the future and literally find out, like, okay, so this is what he's going to do to me, or this is how strong they are. Like, that's just crazy, bro. And taking over what someone's mind, those chains are just overpowered. You already know Enema. Hey, man. Enema Leash, bro, you already know that's just, come on now. So, actually, that was new to me as well. It can swallow the wind, right? Yeah, that's why it's so much pressure spinning, or spinning around. Yeah, I never realized that, but still, it's like spinning around so much. Yeah, he could just hold it, and yeah, whatever gets close to it, like that Holy Grail, the modified Yeah, it just literally gets destroyed. And yeah, little details like that. Yeah, I didn't even know. Like, I thought just literally, Enema Elish, yeah, just being simply brought out was just bringing like what, chills to Shido. I thought that's what that was. No, that was literally like friction in his head. Like he could not identify what it was. He could even think to project it, think about even replicating it. So yeah, it's basically like as if it's a whole weapon, or no, you know what better yet? It's like a memory that you literally cannot like bring back up. Like it's like it's something that you should clearly remember, but it's like you cannot remember it at all, no matter what you do. It's like just out of your mind, no matter what, or just something like, yeah, just completely is wiped out, right? Like literally, it's not like, yeah, you prior to, yeah, you remember. Like, no, it's just something you can't even think of, right? Like it's just out of your mind. But yeah, it's still just crazy. Um, yeah, I don't know. How do you, what? What was it? A god of death? Like, how do you fight that? Like, isn't that just literally death itself? And then the bull thing. That, how do you, like, let me see if I can even, how do you even fight it? I don't remember where it's at. Wait a sec. Let me see if I can even find it. Well, yeah, anyways, I'm pretty sure you guys know what it looks like, but still, like, that's just like, bro, come on now. How do you even fight? Yeah, because it's like literal, like, clouds around it. Like, how do you even go about, like, where do you even start? You know, like, yeah, obviously, I guess the head, but, like, what if there's another part of the body or whatever it is that you have to go after first? Yeah, I don't know. But the Gate of Babylon, it's like, it don't even matter if you have any physical strength or not. It's like, as long as you have that, you're good. You're set for life, and you can literally just win, because it's like there's like no limits, nothing. Like you can store whatever you want in there as long as you want. Go to sleep as long as you want, and it's still there. He's still fine. He said he was weaker. Come on now, 2,000 years, man. He like, come on. The only reason you're weak is because nothing, like your muscles, your body hasn't been used. That, it's as simple as that. Not because of yeah, just simply 2,000 years he's been sleeping. Like, no, it's just because you haven't used your muscles. That's it. And that's all, right? Haven't moved around. That's all it is. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I can't even try to like. Oh, yeah. Basically, he's like, oh man. Oh yeah, no. How do you do this? How do you? I forgot what it was. How do you literally break or punch through a whole, what was it, a dimension or something? He said, how? You know how strong you gotta be, like that's ridiculous. Yeah. Send send them to the past. I and he has thunderbolts to make it like worse, you know? to make things even worse, he has thunderbolts that he can literally bring out something that, yeah, you really, well, depending on, you know, how close you are to it, yeah, something you can't even dodge or something you can't even parry, basically, right? Yeah. But other than that, yeah, I'm gonna just end it off here. I don't have nothing else to say. I mean, I know he was crazy, but like that's like way too much, right? Yeah, I don't know, but other than that, I hope you guys did enjoy this. Make sure you like, subscribe again, and yeah, I will see you guys in the next one.